Welcome to Mattia's Cooking Journal. Today we're going to make what my children call Nonna Maria's chocolate pudding cookie recipe. What it is homemade chocolate pudding layered in between tea biscuits. And you just keep building up the layers. We chill it and we serve it with either ice cream or whipping cream. Let's get started. We're going to start with the pudding part, mixing the pudding together. Get yourself a nice decent sized pot. We're going to add your sugar, which is half a cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of sugar. You've got a 1/4 cup of good quality cocoa powder. Then we'll add half a cup of flour. Get it all in there. And you've got a half a teaspoon of some salt. Now go ahead and just kind of whisk it. Get all the lumps out of it. You don't want any lumps in there. You want it as smooth as possible. Then you're going to add 3 cups of milk. We like to use whole milk in this recipe. I guess you can use skim milk if you prefer. That's fine. We just like the whole milk. Now that's 3 cups. And you'll want to whisk it around and get it well mixed. And this is all well mixed. We're going to take this to the stove and start cooking it.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got a medium to high. Try not to put it too high because it will scorch this before it gets a chance to cook. And all you have to do is just keep stirring it. Don't go off and do something else and come back because it'll be just a blob of goop in the middle. You have to stir it quite often. And this will take some time. It might take about 10 minutes to get this thing to a boil. Now, every once in a while you might see a little bit of cocoa powder come up or a little bit of that flour. Take your whisk and give it a good stir. Mix it all up nice and get it all together. And that'll be fine. That'll work out just well. Okay, right about now, you've been stirring it for about 2 or 3 minutes. Keep stirring. I'd like to add my 2 tablespoons of butter. I like to add it now instead of before when the ingredients are all cold because the milk, it's heated up a little bit and it tends to melt down the butter quicker than if I were to put it at the beginning, so that's what I like to do. Okay, now this is starting to get thick. See that? Starting to get thick. Now you want it to come to a boil. Now the thickening agent in this one is flour. Some people use cornstarch. I use the flour. I've had this recipe for years. My mother-in-law got me onto this. The kids love it. My husband loves it. It's just about to come to a boil. When it does, let it cook for an extra minute. And this will be ready. Lumpy. Okay. So this is cooked for a full minute after it's come to boil. You have to do that for the flour. I'm going to add a teaspoon of good quality vanilla. And that smells so good. Chocolate and vanilla, great combination. All right, we are ready to assemble Nonna Maria's chocolate pudding cookie dessert. All right, so here we have what we call tea cookies. Some are square, some are round. Very flaky cookie. Not so much flaky, they have a nice snap to them. It's a cookie that'll take soaking up milk. You don't want anything too thin because it will totally fall apart. And what we're going to do is get yourself a nice dish, glass dish, or any kind of round dish, nothing too long, but more this size. Get yourself about a cup of milk. Now if you need more, go ahead and add more milk when it comes to it. So you take your cookies and just slightly dip and get them in there. Now if you leave them in there, if you leave the cookie in the milk, what will happen is it'll just soak up and just totally fall apart. Now you have to soak these cookies a little bit or else they just stay too hard. Get into the broken areas. That's pretty good. Now we're going to take some of this pudding and layer it on top. Now it's okay that it's hot, and actually it's better that it's hot. It'll apply a lot easier. Just pour it all over. And spread it. There you go. Now they don't have to be totally covered 100%, but close enough. And you just start all over. Do it again. This is great. It's a great fun thing to do with your children. Don't worry about the mess. When things are messy, kids enjoy themselves a lot more. Just pour it all in there. A little two more. There you go. And we're going to start again with the pudding. Just pour it all on. When we first got married, my husband says, "Oh, make the cookie, Nonna's, my mother's cookie dessert." And I had no idea what he was talking about. And she taught me this, and my kids have fallen in love. So we've got that layer of cookies, and this is the last layer of pudding. Now, I've managed to make 3 layers. Depending on the size of my dish, I can do 3 layers, or I can do less, or you can do more, depending on how what I've done is switched over to a spatula. How deep it is. I want to make sure I get all that pudding out. Just scrape your bottom, your pot there. And I'm going to show you that this pot, as long as you keep stirring your pot, nothing is scorched. It all comes out. Nothing is stuck, nothing is burned. So you really have to be on it. And there, just spread it around. Now you want to finish with the pudding. You don't want to finish with the cookies on top and no pudding on it. This is the way it should be. Now don't worry about the sides. Just take a clean dish rag or some paper towels and just make sure. It's easier to clean it off when it's warm than when it's cold, so. And that is ready. So I've pulled off a piece of plastic wrap. You put it directly on top. When I mean on top, I mean put it directly on the pudding. Now, when you make vanilla custard or lemon custard, you'll want to do the same thing. You put the paper directly on top of it. Because what will happen is that some of these creams and pudding and fillings, they tend to make a layer of skin on top. And it doesn't matter what you do, that skin will always be tough, and you can't incorporate that into your meal, into whatever you're making. So, see that? It's sitting directly on top of the pudding. We're going to chill this for about an hour to 2 hours, and it'll be ready to enjoy. Okay, so we've removed the plastic wrap, and you see how it's not leathery? It's really soft. Okay, so we're going to get a nice piece. Just scoop it out of the bowl. And you can see the biscuits, that nice creamy pudding. Dollop or 2 of some nice, one more vanilla ice cream. Okay, so there you go. Taste it. Get some of that vanilla. A nice pudding and cookie. Just get it on my spoon. Oh, that's good. The chocolate is very creamy and it's rich, and that vanilla ice cream just goes really well together. Now this is a dessert that my children and my husband come running for. My mother-in-law introduced me to this, and it is absolutely great. It's great for a great party dinner thing. It's an impressive dessert. It's light, it's not heavy, rich and delicious. And with the melting ice cream, it's very creamy. Enjoy.